Tens Go Fish is a game with 2 to 10 players. Each player is playing individually. All players will compete to get the most matches, which are sums to 10 by the end of the game. The mathematical objective of this game is sums to 10. This happens in the game by having 2 cards that add together to 10. To use the cards you have, ask another player for an additional card where the sum of those 2 cards are equal to 10. An example would be if you have a 3, you can ask any player for a 7. To play this game, there is only one required material, one deck of cards. In this video, we will be playing with tiny polka dot cards from Math for Love. This deck of cards has a series of different colors and polka dot cards on each card to represent a number. Players will have to count the number of polka dots to determine what number is on that card. Here is an example of all the different types of cards in this set. It may be a good idea for younger students to count with their fingers to help them know what to ask the other players. These are great cards to use with young learners because these cards are colorful and fun to the eye and mathematically add aspects of critical thinking in determining which number the cards represent. They can also help students learn the relationship between numbers and representation. To set up this game, gather all of the players in a circle and shuffle the deck of cards. The youngest player will be the dealer. The dealer will deal each player 5 cards. The remaining cards that were not dealt out will be in a pile in the middle. The person clockwise of the dealer will start. To play this game, you will have 5 cards. You will pick one of your cards and ask a player if they have a card that will sum to 10. If you were dealt a match or have one in your hand, this counts as a match. If they have the card you asked for, you take that card and you have a match. Set your matches to the side. If they do not have the card you asked for, they will tell you to go fish. You will then draw one card from the center pile. The game will continue to move clockwise. The game is over when there are no cards left in the middle. The player with the most matches wins. A few more rules to mention are that when players are asking you for a card, if you have it, you give it to them. You do not need to draw another card at this point. At the end of each person's turn, whether they were given a matching card or had to go fish, their turn is over and the game moves on to the next player. Unlike a normal deck of cards, this set of cards has 0 cards in the deck. So a match would consist of a 10 card and a 0 card. The game is over when the pile of cards in the middle is empty. Once the pile of cards is empty, each player will go once more to try to get a match. Each player will count by tens the number of matches that they have, and the player with the most matches wins. Now here is some gameplay. Here we can see the youngest player dealing out 5 cards to each player, and the remaining cards will be put in the center pile. Here we can see that this player was dealt a match, so they can set it to this side.
Michelle, do you have a 3? Kylie, do you have a 1? Yes. Rachel, do you have 4? Yeah. Kylie, do you have 3? Go fish.
Rachel, do you have 8? Go fish. Michelle, do you have 2?
Here is an example of what a match would look like, a 2 and an 8.
Michelle, do you have 0? Kylie, do you have 7?
Kylie, do you have 10?
Since this player ran out of cards, they will grab 5 cards from the middle to get them back to the starting point.
Rachel, do you have 5? Go fish.
Michelle, do you have 9? Go fish. Kylie, do you have 7? Go fish. Kylie, do you have 0? Rachel, do you have 6? Go fish.
Michelle, do you have 8? Go fish.
We notice here that when the player was told to go fish, they drew the card that they were asking for. This counts as a match.
6. Go fish. Michelle, do you have 10? Go fish. Michelle, do you have 6? Go fish. Kylie, do you have 0?
Since there are no more cards left in the middle after this turn, Everyone will go once more before they count their number of
You have
matches.
one, Kylie. Do you have three, Kylie? Do you have two?
$10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100, $110, $120.
It is important to note here that if a player runs out of cards during play, they must draw 5 cards from the center pile to get back to the starting amount. Here are some questions to think about before you start playing. Pause the video here if needed. A few different variations of this game could be using subtraction to get to sums to 0, a regular deck of cards where face cards count as 0, and more addition games where you can find the sums to 15s or 20s using more than 2 cards. Thank you for playing!